Okay, welcome everyone to this webinar. My name is Petra Ritter. I am the coordinator of the Testing and Experimentation Facility for Health, AI and Robotics, short TEF-Health. And this webinar is about how TEF-Health can support your innovation journey. So this webinar is made for you when you are developing AI or robotics for healthcare systems, or when you are preparing a proposal for EIC Pathfinder, for example. The EIC Pathfinder Challenge 2025 has been published recently, and one of the topics is generative AI-based agents to revolutionize medical diagnosis and treatment of cancer. The deadline for this call is October 29, 2025. The projects are funded with up to 4 million euros, and the innovation readiness level shall be between 3 or 4. And if you're interested in this call and you read the challenge guidelines, you will find that your proposal and the work that you are planning will need to meet 4 main criteria that are categorized. And in the 4th category, this relates to access to infrastructure, data, and ecosystem integration. And there you will find examples, and some of you have already contacted us because the testing and experimentation facilities, the TEFs, are explicitly mentioned there as potential collaborators. Therefore, we thought it's maybe instructive to have this webinar to provide more information about the work of TEFs and how we can provide you support in your innovation work in general, but also with respect to the specific EIC call. The agenda of this webinar is as follows. First, I will provide an overview of TEF-Health. Then we will go in the specifics of the TEF-Health application platforms. This will be provided by my colleague Leon Martin. And then at the end, there will be time for question and answers, and this will be moderated by my colleague Omolola Adan-Lavo. The webinar is being recorded, so please be aware of this, and it will be published afterwards in the TEF-Health YouTube channel. So what is TEF-Health? Europe wants to become leading and trustworthy AI made in Europe. And trustworthy AI needs to fulfill certain requirements that are categorized in human agency and oversight, technical robustness and safety, privacy and data governance, transparency, diversity, non-discrimination and fairness, societal and environmental well-being, and accountability. And Europe is the first region in the world that provides a regulation for trustworthy AI with the EU AI Act that has come in force in August last year. So the AI Act provides a lot of information, including a definition of an AI system. And I provided here to you for information. An AI system, as defined in the AI Act, is a machine-based system designed to operate with varying levels of autonomy and that may exhibit adaptiveness after deployment, and that for explicit or implicit objectives infers from the input it receives how to generate outputs such as predictions, content recommendations, or decisions that can influence physical or virtual environments. So this is a very broad definition. And importantly, the level of autonomy and also the level of adaptiveness can vary and can also be explicitly, as you can see here in the comments, by the European Commission at the level of 0. So also AI systems that are not learning after deployment will fall under the definition of the AI Act. So many devices containing advanced mathematical inference of results will fall under the category. The AI Act sees 4 risk classes: minimal or no risk, transparency risk, high risk, and unacceptable risk. And unacceptable risk devices or systems are prohibited. High-risk systems are permitted, but they have to undergo an ex-ante conformity assessment before they enter the market. And it is important to know that medical devices are classified as of the AI Act as high risk. So all medical devices containing AI systems need to undergo in the future conformity assessment before they go to the market. And these are the implications. So here you see the obligations related to high-risk AI systems. They are actor-specific. So there are certain requirements for the AI system, but also obligations for the AI providers, for example, which are listed here. So first of all, the requirements for the AI system need to be fulfilled. Then there needs to be a disclosure of name and trademark. There needs to be a quality management system, and the product needs to undergo conformity assessment where fundamental rights impact assessments are performed. The requirements for the AI system contain a risk management system, data governance, technical documentation, record keeping, transparency and information provision to users, human oversight and accuracy, robustness and cyber security. The AI Act came in force in August 2024. And they will become applicable for high-risk systems in August 2026. So there's a grace period now, and from August 2026 on, the conformity assessment starts. And for medical devices, from August 2027 on, they have to go through that ex-ante conformity assessment and need to receive CE certification with respect to the AI Act requirements. The testing and experimentation facility for health, AI and robotics has started its work in 2023. The role of the TEFs in general is defined in the AI Act as follows. The TEFs are implementation instruments that provide technical and scientific support for providers and notified bodies. And there have been 3 other TEFs founded also in 2023, in addition to the TEF-Health, TEF Agri-Food, TEF Manufacturing, and TEF Smart Cities. And we are working closely together and are aligning our activities. So in general, the TEF-Health brings together industry, innovators with higher education, and the healthcare sector, hospitals, and the data patients and medical staff in the hospitals. The TEF-Health, as is now, is built by 9 countries, 9 European member states and 52 partners. The involved member states currently are Germany, Belgium, France, Italy, Portugal, Czechia, Finland, Slovakia, and Sweden. And here you will see that several of the partners are private partners, other partners are public. So we have about 50% public and 50% private partners in our consortium, total 52 partners. It's a large consortium. We were celebrating the opening for business in March 2024, together with the other 3 TEFs and other sectors, agriculture, smart cities, and manufacturing. And at this event, we also organized our first service fair for SMEs, startups, and innovators to get better known our services that we are providing for testing and experimentation. And this is indeed the goal and the task for TEF-Health, to act as a flywheel from the innovation, from the research, from the lab to the market or the bedside of the patient by providing a single EU-wide entry point via tefhealth.eu to all the stakeholders and services that are needed to navigate this complex regulatory landscape in Europe and to enter successfully the market. We presently have 337 services listed, maybe even some more. We are daily updating our service catalog. We have an automated service pipeline, and you can discover all these services on our website via this URL. Importantly, the services are open to entire European Union, also to the member states that are not presently involved in TEF-Health. And as mentioned, we bring together all the important stakeholders. We have certifiers on board. We have metrology entities for the definition and development of standards on board. And of course, also hospitals and healthcare providers that can provide access, for example, to health data, but also to patients and to medical staff. To just give you a few examples here. We are tasked as TEF to provide support, in particular to innovators with innovations with a technology readiness level of 6 and higher. So this is already quite a high level. Starting with the prototyping, going to validation, approval, launch, production, and post-production. The Pathfinder call of the EIC is targeting lower TRL levels presently, with a goal to reach TRL technology readiness level of 3 or 4. So it's a phase of proof of concept, proof of feasibility. And while this is not the focus of our TEF and also not related to the key performance indicators, we have to fulfill, nevertheless, several of our service providers also serve services to lower TRL innovators. You can explore our website. Here you will find in the right upper corner the action buttons, search for services, apply for discounts or subsidized services, help desk, and login. What you can find behind the login and the help desk you will see later in the presentation by my colleague Leon Martin. If you click apply for discounts, you will find our open calls. Yeah, this is our website. You just can go there. You will find this information. We have now 2 ongoing open calls. And when you click one of them, you will find more information. The second call is an international call where several service providers from various member states are providing their services at discounted prices. You will find this flyer providing the most important information you should know about this call. But importantly, even if you're not eligible to get discounted services, you always, of course, are eligible to apply for service or to reach out to collaborate with TEF-Health and get more information. If you go to the button search for services, you will end up in our TEF-Health knowledge graph, a graph database that lists all the services that have been curated with a lot of detailed information. Here in the screenshot, it was 337 services provided by 29 organizations and 8 countries. As mentioned, this can vary because we have an ongoing pipeline that continuously updates the services and also the information in the service cards that are presented. There are several filters that you can use. And when we created this diagram, you could see that all the member states are really providing their services, and importantly, services of other member states than the innovator or SME or startup are located in can be used. So this is a goal of the TEF to really provide the services across the borders and not just within their own member state. Yeah, so the services have a wide range and really have the goal to support elevating the technology readiness level from 6 to a higher degree and helping the innovators to bring their product to the market. This includes access to various types of health data, also the provision of secure and trusted compute environments where the health data can be processed in compliance with GDPR and other regulations. It also comprises simulation environments, for example, simulated operating rooms, intensive care units, but also access to real-world environments, hospital environments for the testing and for clinical trials related to the products. This is just one example of the information that you will find in this knowledge graph that is directly publicly accessible. So here you see a facility description. You will find this for all the facilities and most of the facilities in our catalog. This is an example from my own institution, Charité, a simulation center. Yes, this is located here in this building behind the large patient building, where products can be tested and the patients are being simulated in a hybrid environment. But many of the operating room devices are present and can be attached to the innovations that need to be validated. You also find a lot of detailed information about the actual services, where we have a curation team that also ensures quality of the provided information in our consortium. And the information also comprises price lists and also the discounts that discount ranges that you can expect when applying via our open calls. So since for this EIC Pathfinder call, the focus is on cancer. I just give you here an example. If you put in the knowledge graph, keyword search cancer, you will find all the services that explicitly are related to cancer and provide, for example, access to images or other data related to cancer, but also equipment that might be relevant in this context. We also were asked by the European Commission to provide access to some of the other large consortia that are being funded by the European Commission, foremost UCAME. And you now also find these external services already in our knowledge graph. For example, you will find the UCAME service, and there will be a reference made to the actual infrastructure and platform with a dashboard with all the detailed information that is then provided by this other infrastructure UCAME platform. But it is also listed and can be discovered via our portal. So when you want to go to the discounted services, then you go via our open calls. You will find a lot of detailed information. You can download a document that contains all the eligibility criteria and the process description, and also the link to the platform where you can apply. And once you have an account on the platform, you find the very detailed user documentation that guides you through the application process. And then you can expect, once you are on the platform and you have submitted your application, to undergo a matchmaking procedure where you get access to the service providers. You get in contact with them and negotiate the offerings and get more information to see whether, in fact, the services that can be provided match your individual needs. If you have questions, we have a help desk that can be also accessed directly via our main website, and you can submit the questions always via this help desk. At the end of my presentation, I would like to point out that we have a joint event together with the other 3 TEFs in October, on 1st and 2nd October this year in Milano, Italy. We will have also a large exhibition with all the services, and of course invite everyone who's interested to join us at this public event. We also will have policymakers there, the European Commission, local governments, so it will be a very valuable networking event and exercise. And with this, I thank you for your attention, and I'm very happy to now hand over to my colleague Leon Martin, so he can provide you more details on the actual application process in case you are interested in subsidized services of TEF-Health.
Yes, warm welcome from my side as well. I'm Leon, and so I'm just gonna walk you through the different features of our application platform, how to use the help desk, how to register to the platform, how to log in, how to apply for subsidized services, and how to select those services. And please then feel free to ask any questions afterwards. We can also go into detail if you have any. Okay, let me show. So, does it work? Great. So our main entry point is the website you probably already have entered. It's TEF-Health.eu. And there you can find all the information about the consortium, about the events, publications, blog entries, success stories about companies that have already been provided with services. And as Petra also has showed you before, you can also search for services in a really detailed knowledge graph infrastructure by keyword search and other category filters. And you can have an overview of some services are applicable to your solution. And if you have any questions, let's start with this regarding a service or regarding the application process, you can just click on Help Desk and submit a new ticket and type in subject, of course, a description. There you can also select a category. Like, is it about the portal? Is it about certification? Is it about calls and applications? And you can also upload a screenshot, a document, more information, any additional files, and then you can click submit. So um, if you have no account yet, sorry, no account yet, the view is a little bit different. You also have to, of course, type in your email address so we can reach out to you afterwards. Once the help desk ticket is submitted, you will get an email response that your ticket has been recorded, and then it um, will be worked on by our team, and then you will get a response regarding your question. There's also a user documentation about the portal you can access directly. So there you can also read through the application process and the process of reviewing the eligibility of your company to receive subsidized services, to receive discounts to the services, and the matchmaking process and how all this works can be found in a really detailed documentation page that is accessible directly here. If you are interested, you can register for an account. This is just a basic registration form where you type in a username, password, confirm the password, your email, of course, your name. And if you click on register, you will get an email where you have to verify basically your email address, and then you're good to go to log into your user account at the TEF-Health platform. And I already registered, obviously, so I don't have to wait for the verification email. And so we can log in and we can enter the platform. And this is then basically the view once you have logged in as an applicant. You can always ask a question, use the help desk if you need any guidance on navigating basically the homepage. So this is basically the first view you see. If you're interested, you can also directly create more information about your user account. You can create information about your company, information about your products. And this is non-mandatory. You can do because this will be then used for application processes and service requests in the future. Now, let's get back to the home page. So if you're interested in applying for a service, you click on new application. If you already have submitted an application for a specific service, you can select the previous application, and then also your information will be pre-filled. You select the open call for subsidized services. So we have different calls will be published. So we have an ongoing call 1 that is only focused on services provided by Portuguese institutions, and we have for call 2 services provided by all institutions of all member states. Then, of course, you need to provide your company information, where the company is registered. This is important for you to receive those discounted services. And here you can then select the services of interest, basically. And as Petra also has shown you before, you can also search for services, a keyword search, and select categories, countries, provider institutions, different offerings like business, consultants, clinical investigation support, data, ethics, and regulation, like consulting about regulatory obligations, or physical testing facilities, virtual data processing, virtual services like data provisioning as well, infrastructure, model and algorithms, software support. So there are different offering categories you can also select, but let's maybe stick to the example Petra already also raised. Like if you're interested in cancer research, then we have currently 7 services that mention cancer in a ways or give use cases with patient data from cancer patients. And so if you're interested in one service, you can also, of course, get more in detail here. It's the same detail you see also in the knowledge graph, where you can explore the services. But it's basically also here directly in the application, where you can search for the services again and check if this is still relevant to your production and solution. There are also detailed pricing information, and also the discounts are displayed here. Yeah, here are even more details about pricings, and also which dependencies you need to bring. If you're interested, maybe in genome dataset sequencing, or a consulting service for retrieval augmented generation, that is also here in a use case shown for a personalized treatment options for cancer patients. So it's also applicable maybe to your use case and your solution. You can then select this service to your application, and you can always save your application and return to it at a later stage. It's still selected, and you can then type in basically your application details, company details, and also short descriptions about your products. And here, if you have defined basically your company details already at your homepage, it will be pre-filled here. And also here you can select basically the products you already registered. So if you want to apply for several services, you don't have to fill in all the informations twice. During the process, you can always ask a question, use the help desk, and also ask a question about specifics of the application form. And yeah, as I said, you can always save the application, and you get also information. So if you want to then get back to the applications, you can see basically 2 different views under My Applications. One is the open applications, so those that are unfinished but saved, and those that are already submitted. So you can always get back and fill out the information. Once you have submitted an application, you will then receive also a confirmatory email that your application has been submitted and will be then reviewed by the experts of the TEF-Health consortium. And you can always also have an overview basically of the submitted applications. So those applications are what this test application ASDF obviously has already been deleted by myself, so you will know, so you will be able to access the information of a real application once it has been submitted. Yeah, but it basically will show you just the same interface here. And add a chat box basically where you can then exchange further information. Yeah, so the important thing is that you consent to the eligibility criteria. So you confirm basically that your organization qualifies as a small and medium-sized enterprise, and it's incorporated in one of the EU member states. And yeah, there are some state aid regulations you also need to approve. And then you can always also load new attachments and more information about the criteria or your application here. Okay, that's the basic step of logging in, registering, selecting services that are applicable for your application, and saving the application, and yeah, submitting the application once everything has been filled out. So maybe I will stop here and leave some room for questions.
Thank you very much, Leon. And with this, we hand over to Omolola Adan-Lavo to chair the question and answer session.
Yeah, thank you very much, Petra. And thank you, Leon, also for the presentation. And yeah, so I would be handling the Q&A. So I would like to encourage everyone, kindly feel free to ask any question that you have, either from Petra's presentation, from Leon's application process presentation, or even if it's just general questions that you have regarding TEF-Health in general. There have been links put in our chat that for you to access the website, the application page, and also to download the document that have been shared earlier. So we would like to encourage you all to kindly ask us questions. We are here to answer your questions. And I do see already there is a question in the chat that came from Mireille. Apologies if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but you have a question. I think that's more in terms of being a service provider. So I would address the question to Petra on this. So the question is that if they would like to be a service provider, what is the process if they would like to join TEF-Health as a service provider? You are muted, Petra.
Thank you for making me aware of this, and thanks for the question. If you're a service provider who wants to provide service via the TEF-Health platform, please contact us via the help desk. You can also create already an account. There will be the possibility to submit service descriptions via the platform, and the process, the quality criteria for publication of external services that are not provided by our TEF-Health partners is presently in development. But you can already now submit your statement of interest that you wish to have your service marketed via the TEF-Health platform, and next steps will be followed up then with you.
Great, perfect. Thanks, Petra. And I guess that answers your question, Mirai. And yeah, moving on to the next question. This is a double faces question from Anka. So the first question is that can you apply anytime or at certain moments, or are there deadlines for application? And the second layer to the question is that once they submit an application for subsidies, how long does the does it take to get a final decision on the application process?
Yeah, so for the first question, it depends on the calls. In the present calls, the timelines are described. The second large call that is public now is open until the capacity of the service providers is reached. So there is no deadline, and when we have not too many applicants, the call will stay open until the end of the project. But this really depends on the capacity of the service providers and the number of applicants. It's also important to understand, this is described in the application documentation, that we will check for your eligibility. There are certain criteria that need to be fulfilled as of the rules of the funding agencies that provide the money that is used for subsidizing the services. And these are fixed. These cannot be negotiated. They are evaluated as part of the application process. We will also have independent external reviewers who will score the quality of your application, but independent on that score. The score, together with your application, if it is eligible, will be presented to the selected service providers. So the service providers will see your application if you fulfill the fixed eligibility criteria provided by the funders in any case. But then the service provider can initiate the matchmaking process. And if you have selected several service providers in your application, which is possible, then this process will happen with several service providers. And this can last, so we cannot say how long this process lasts, because it depends on the appointments and the time schedules of the service providers and the applicant. It can go fast if you find a quick match, but it also can take longer if it is a longer lasting negotiation. The actual process of evaluating the eligibility of your application and getting the scores by the reviewers is very fast. Yeah, it should not take longer than a month. I hope this was addressing the first question. Now, please remind me, what was the second question, Lola?
You actually answered both questions. So the first question was regarding deadline, and then the second question was how long it takes to get a final decision. So
thanks.
Yeah, you addressed both questions. Thanks a lot, Petra. And I hope that clarifies the question for Anka. And if you have any follow-up question on that, you can still put it in the chat, or you could also reach out to us via the TEF-Health help desk. And we also have another question coming in from Andriani, and it says, does the 300,000 ERAS fund also apply for Horizon project?
So does the 300,000 euros fund also apply for Horizon projects? Well, so what we need to clarify here is that the 300,000 euros relates to the state aid regulations. I think you are referring to this part. So the applicants, the companies who are applying for a service, are not eligible for state aid higher than 300,000 euros per 3 years. So this is related to this number. Does 300 fund also apply for Horizon projects? I'm not completely sure I understand the question. Yeah, maybe you can clarify what exactly you have in mind here.
Adriana, if you want to unmute also, I think it would be great if you can unmute and then just help us clarify the question so we fully understand your question. Not getting any feedback on that. So, okay. With no feedback on that, but another question came in. So I guess you can also still reach out to us via the help desk, and then we can, if you don't want to further discuss the question here, we can also clarify via our help desk. But there is another question that came in from Claire that says, are international organizations, that non-European international organizations that does have headquarters in the European Union, are they also eligible as service providers?
As service providers, for service providers, as mentioned, the very concrete criteria are under development. Yeah, so I cannot answer the question right now. What we always have in mind is the sovereignty of Europe, for sure. So that we will act accordingly, but we need to investigate as a specific case, and we cannot give a general answer to this question now.
I mean, I would also recommend for that, thanks, Leon, for putting the link to the help desk in the chat. I would also recommend to follow up directly with us on this when it comes to any questions regarding being a service provider. Like Petra said, this has still been defined. So following up with us directly via help desk or creating your profile on our portal will be very helpful for us to be able to keep track and understand the organizations that are interested in becoming service providers with us. So yeah, feel free to follow up with us via our portal. Yeah, I think that clarified the question for Claire, because she said perfect, thank you, so that's good. And I didn't get any feedback still from Andriani regarding clarifying their question, so I guess we would follow up on that. And there is no more question for now in the chat, and we'll still give it a bit of a buffer time to see if anyone will still have any additional question. Can give it like 2 minutes, I guess. Maybe something pops up in your head last minute, we can still address it.
Yeah, but as Lola already mentioned, always feel free to reach out via the help desk. We will always answer to your questions, and I think this is a good communication channel that can be used for all kinds of questions. Yeah, when you have a concern or doubt, feel free to just reach out to us.
Okay, great. I guess an inspiration came in last minute for Maria. She has a question. So the question is that, is there a possibility to apply for TEF funding? I guess that has been clarified earlier, but Petra, can you please clarify that again?
So what we are providing is subsidized services, and you will find all the details on our website. There are open calls, there are detailed descriptions of what these open calls comprise and what the eligibility criteria are. What you will receive if you go through the application and you are eligible and then find your matching service provider is a service that supports you in validating and testing your innovation to make it ready for the market at a discounted price. Yeah? So you pay less, and sometimes it is also free. It depends on the service provider than you would normally have to pay.
Great, thanks, Petra. And so essentially the funding you would get would be in terms of subsidized, reduced cost for your testing and validation services. That's what you would get when you apply to the TEF open call. And so Andriani is clarifying the question. So they are saying that it was mentioned by Leon that for eligibility, a company should not have received 300,000 from governmental funds over the last 3 years. That does this fund mention also include Horizon grants?
No, it's really only including governmental member state funding. It does not mean Horizon or European Commission funding. European Commission funding does not fall under the state aid laws.
Great, perfect. So I think that clarifies the question and also the answer. I guess it's clear now. And great, so we have a thumbs up from Andriani, so it's clear. And so we're not getting any more questions in the chats. And also just to mention, we also have series of webinars that we have ongoing. So there is outside of this, you can always do where we'll be explaining further our services. So we would have in September, end of September, it will be announced on our LinkedIn, a webinar that would focus on the fiscal services that we have. So it would also be a good opportunity for you to have more clarity regarding the specific services that we offer on TEF, and you could still come with your questions also then, but preferably please send your further questions into our help desk. And I think that will be all from my end from the Q&A, so I will hand it over to you, Petra.
Thank you very much, Lola, and warm thank you from my end to everyone participating here, the speakers, but of course also you, the participants. Again, feel free to always reach out to us. We are very happy to support you and to collaborate. And we hope to see you soon again. Have a great day and bye-bye.
Hold on, Petra, just one last minute question.
Okay, for sure.
So someone is asking if we would be sharing the presentation.
Yes, it will be shared on the TEF-Health YouTube channel, the entire recording.
Perfect.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Great. Bye.
Thank you from my side as well. Ciao.